In 1796, George Washington warned in his farewell address that the rise of political factions could tear apart the young republic, predicting that the spirit of party would lead to cunning, ambitious, and unprincipled men manipulating the system for power, fostering division, and eroding trust in governance. His words ring alarmingly true today as hyper-partisan gerrymandering, particularly by the left in states like California, New York, Illinois, and Maryland, threatens the democratic process. While both political extremes engage in this practice, the aggressive tactics of leftist-led redistricting in 2025 exemplify a dangerous escalation, undermining fair representation and fueling political tribalism. Gerrymandering, the manipulation of electoral district boundaries to favor one party, distorts the will of the electorate. In 2025, California's Democrat leadership, under Governor Gavin Newsom, has pushed a brazen plan to redraw the state's 52 congressional districts to secure at least 5 additional Democrat seats. Newsom frames this as a counter to Republican gerrymandering in states like Texas, claiming it protects democracy. Yet, this tit-for-tat escalation, enabled by a legislative package set for a November 2025 special election, risks entrenching Democrat dominance regardless of voter sentiment. The proposal's loophole, allowing activation if any state, including blue states like Illinois, redistricts, reveals its true intent: power consolidation, not fairness. New York's Governor Kathy Hochul has signaled a similar willingness to fight fire with fire, preparing to counter Republican redistricting with aggressive map drawing to favor Democrats. In Illinois, Democrats, who already dominate the state legislature, are poised to further manipulate congressional and state legislative maps to cement their grip, building on past successes, where they secured 82% of the congressional seats, despite winning only 59% of the 2020 presidential vote. Maryland's infamous Praying Mantis 3rd Congressional District, a contorted map designed to favor Democrats, remains a stark example of how far partisans will go to rig elections, with plans in 2025 to double down on such tactics. These efforts extend beyond Congress to state legislatures, where gerrymandering entrenches party control over local policy. In California, Democrats' supermajority in the state legislature faces little challenge due to carefully crafted districts that pack Republican voters into uncompetitive zones. Illinois and Maryland follow suit, with Democrat-drawn maps diluting opposition votes through packing and cracking, concentrating rival voters into a few districts or spreading them thinly across many to minimize their influence. This manipulation ensures that state-level policies, from education to taxation, reflect the ruling party's agenda rather than a balanced representation of the electorate. Both parties are guilty of gerrymandering, but the left's 2025 maneuvers stand out for their audacity and scale. Republicans in Texas and Florida have drawn maps to secure marginally unearned seats. Yet Democrats' response in blue states is not defensive, but opportunistic, exploiting their control to maximize power. This cycle of mutually assured gerrymandering, as described by scholars, risks a race to the bottom, where competitive districts vanish and elections become foregone conclusions. The result is a Congress and state legislatures that cater to partisan extremes, sidelining moderates and independents who represent the much broader American center. Washington's warning about factionalism is chillingly prescient here. He cautioned that political parties, driven by the alternate domination of one faction over another, would prioritize power over the public good, leading to disorders and miseries that could invite authoritarianism. Hyper-partisan gerrymandering embodies this threat, as it allows politicians to choose their voters, not vice versa, eroding the core democratic principle of representation. By creating safe districts, parties incentivize extremism as candidates pander to their base rather than seeking consensus. This fuels polarization, reduces voter turnout, and erodes trust in institutions as citizens feel their votes are meaningless. It also facilitates performative politics by which unqualified people run for office on feigned outrage for purely opportunistic reasons. Think Ayok, Jasmine Crockett, and the whole of the squad. The harm is evident in data. In California, Democrats proposed maps that would yield 48 of 52 congressional seats, far exceeding their vote share. In Illinois, gerrymandering has already produced a congressional delegation that misaligns with statewide voting patterns. Such distortions mean that a party receiving fewer votes can secure disproportionate power, undermining the one-person, one-vote principle that propagandistic Democrats are so fond of trotting out whenever an election doesn't go their way. State legislatures, equally skewed, pass laws that reflect partisan priorities rather than public will. From restrictive voting measures to unchecked spending to legislation that defies federal authority. This dysfunction, as Washington foresaw, risks public disillusionment and the collapse of cooperative governance. To break this cycle, we must remove human bias from redistricting. Perhaps a pure AI-tasked algorithm designed to prioritize population equality, compactness, and contiguity while ignoring partisan data offers a solution. Unlike partisan legislatures or even bipartisan commissions, which can deadlock or compromise fairness, an AI-driven process could generate maps that reflect demographic realities, not political agendas. Studies show that computer-generated maps, tested against millions of alternatives, can produce fairer outcomes, reducing bias and restoring competitive elections. For example, the defined combined procedure, where parties divide and pair districts, has shown promise in simulations, yielding maps closer to proportional representation. Politicians must abandon tribalism and return to serving the people, not simply their parties. Gerrymandering, whether by the left or the right, betrays the public trust Washington urged us to protect. By adopting AI-driven redistricting, states can ensure that voters choose their representatives, not the other way around. This reform would honor Washington's vision of a republic free from factional tyranny, fostering a democracy where ideas, not power grabs, prevail. Condemning political tribalism and embracing impartial systems is not just a practical necessity. It's a moral imperative to preserve the republic for future generations. When we come back, our segment on America's Third Watch, broadcast nationally from our flagship station WGUL AM 860 and FM 93.7 in Tampa, Florida.